Stories share ideas in a way that people wouldn't connect to otherwise. If you want to see your child expressing their individual voice, then you are going to need to help them develop that in a way that really gets their message across. The unpopular part here is that it really matters how we teach our children to do this. There are particular teaching skills. Are you teaching them this way? It's not just about others understanding our children, but it's also about your child understanding the perspective of others. And this is where the subject of English language arts, or sometimes just called language arts, really shines. A strong language arts program includes both reading and writing. Are you including both reading and writing in your homeschool? Are you including all of those nuances and those details like reading comprehension or the skills around nonfiction writing? There are so many details and nuances here, and this is why so many tend to just lean into a curriculum book for English language arts, and that is totally okay if the book is actually addressing all of these different components. You can also arguably easily cover all of these little components yourself without any curriculum books if you know what aspects to include and you're monitoring that it's actually happening. You need to get a little bit strategic here in the type of books and living books that you choose. That is why I want to share with you my friend Hester over at Classical Education Books. We've teamed up and she is providing 10% off either online or in person when you use the code Natalie, and you can use this for curriculum books or for living books. She is a wealth of knowledge for helping homeschool moms find the right curriculum for their unique situation, their unique family values, and their unique goals for that year. This isn't an affiliate, just wanting to share the love, so make sure that you go check them out. I've got the link in the description box below. Whether you are using curriculum and going through it that way, or you are piecing English language arts together on your own, I think it's clear that as homeschooling moms, we need to be engaged in this process so that we know what to look for or include. So let's break down those nuances and look at how that differs even between an elementary aged child versus a middle school or high schooler. Oh, and if you're new here, my name is Natalie Burns, and I support homeschooling moms to find freedom to reflect who you are as a family through the way that you teach so that you can connect more deeply with your child. All right, I mentioned that for language arts, it is important to recognize we've got reading and we've got writing here. In terms of those elementary aged children, you want to make sure that for reading, you are really addressing those phonics components and those phonics sounds and sounding out letters and words and not just memorizing sight words the entire time. A great reading program will include phonics as part of those reading skills. Not only do you want to look at how to read and the structure of how a word is pronounced, you also want to be looking at teaching your child the way that a sentence or a paragraph or a story is structured. So you see these beginning, middle, and ends. You see what kind of describing words come first. And then we come to reading comprehension, and that is understanding what is being read at all. So if you hear your child giggling as they're reading a book, that is a great sign for reading comprehension because it means that they get the joke. They understand what they're reading and the message that it's giving them. So we not only want to teach them the skills of reading, but also how to understand what they're reading and connect with the ideas and perspectives that are coming in. And it is not until your child gets into those upper elementary or even maybe middle school years that they start a more formal type of writing program. I'm talking about things like grammar, paragraph structure, how you would lay out an essay or persuasive piece of writing, things like creative writing, nonfiction writing, and personal writing. Creative writing includes things like narrative stories, short stories, or poems. Nonfiction writing looks more like a report, like a book report or a lab report, or any kind of booklet, like the kind of writing that goes into a lap book, versus personal writing is more like journaling, reflective writing, writing songs. These different kinds of writing do start very early on as soon as your child is able to narrate to you what to write. And so you really want to be fostering these different kinds of writing right from the beginning so that your child becomes comfortable with different styles and reading different styles and viewing the different ways that an idea can be expressed. Because this really does bring us to the whole purpose of English language arts. This is why we bother to even look at these nuances and include these different components instead of just reading a bunch of books and calling it good. What are we really looking at aiming to accomplish when it comes to teaching this subject? Well, the main purpose of English language arts is to come to understand the different perspectives and ideas in the world around us. It allows us to express and share creative ideas in a way that engages and connects with others. Can this be accomplished by reading a bunch of books and then moving on? Yeah, to some extent. But is that the most beneficial way that we can teach English language arts to our children? Are we homeschooling our children because we actually want to give them more than they would get in a different educational system? For sure. So by teaching these nuances to your child in your homeschool, you are actually developing in them the skills to express their ideas in a more clear way to others. You are teaching them how to become more empathetic and compassionate in their community when they understand how to take in somebody else's perspective. This allows them to come to appreciate the different perspective of others so that when we bring these different ideas together, they allow us to lift rather than fighting against each other. What a change your child is going to bring to the world when they understand this purpose. It can very quickly get to become all about those details and us as moms making that happen in our homeschools. Fix your writing to look more like this. Like, we need to do our paragraph now, reflective journal time. But really, we can show them how to incorporate other perspectives by looking at this from a new perspective ourselves. And this is where I'd like to share with you the idea of really focusing on storytelling when you teach English language arts. Storytelling is really fantastic in that it allows us to connect with an idea at a deeper level than we would have otherwise just reading it as a fact. I mean, look at the way that the Bible tells stories and the way that they're laid out in parables. You can see that different people connect at different levels to that story, and they're able to draw out exactly what they need at that moment. It highlights this want and it highlights the desires of our hearts, and it shows us how we can come through to a transformation of an idea in a really engaging and personally connecting way. Actually, if you are looking to incorporate the concept of parables and storytelling a little bit more into your homeschool, you may want to check out my friend's free workshop all about this. You can check out Dawn Bowers. I've got her linked in the description box below on how to tell stories, and you can use this as a way that you teach complex ideas to your children or lay out your lesson plans, or even just how to understand parables better in general. I don't know about you, but has your child ever been resistant to something like writing? Have you ever found that, can you just get through this? Like, let's go, get one page done today. At least I got to show something for this. Is that really the best way that we can approach our children? Our role is not to make writing happen or make any kind of learning happen, but it's to facilitate our children to connect with that process all on their own when they are ready. So for something like writing, as your child gets older, they are going to become ready for a more formal type of writing. I talked about paragraphs and essays and different kinds of longer form, complex writing. It's hard to know exactly when your child is ready to do that. It doesn't go by a set age or grade. It is not your job to push them to be ready. It is your job to be observant and assess for when they show that kind of readiness. And if they have this safety with you, you can give them little gentle nudges and pushes to test out when that readiness is at the earliest time, and yet also being relaxed about it being okay if they're not ready yet. Some children, it looks like age 6 or 7. Some, it looks like 9 or 10, and everywhere in between and on either end of those. Just like when a gardener plants a seed, they facilitate all of the nuances around that. The watering, the sunlight, the soil health, everything that seed needs to burst forth and grow. Also understanding that they cannot actually make that seed grow into and flourish into a beautiful plant. And this is just the same with our children. We cannot force that learning to flourish, but we can set up everything for them. Now, doesn't this seem a lot gentler to have this visual of a seed, this story of the way that the seed grows? You can incorporate these little analogies and little metaphors as a way to bring more story into your homeschool. This new perspective shift really starts with us. And as we start to shift this to be a more enjoyable type of process and the way that we go about this learning, our children will shift to really enjoy this so much more too. If you are looking at this like, I do not know what these nuances are that you keep talking about, then I have just the thing for you. I've laid them out in the subject management system. Everything that you need to know about each of these subject areas is listed in this system. Not only that, you can use this as a big picture planner to ensure that you are covering all of these different aspects throughout your homeschool year. You could even go so far as to use it as a forward or reverse planner to ensure that everything you need to do got done. Check out the link below to learn a little bit more about that. Well, that's all I have for you for now. I hope that you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.